stop absolutely everything you're doing right now, because I truly need to break this down for you exactly as it happened live on national television earlier tonight. ESPN's own Shams Charania sat there, live on NBA Today, and delivered an actual fully sourced report about LeBron James that should have every single Warriors fan sitting bolt upright in their seat right now, no exceptions. Here's exactly what Shams Charania said on NBA Today, and I want you to really hear this, because it wasn't a vague rumor floating around some corner of the internet. It was a direct, sourced on-air report from the single most connected NBA reporter alive. Shams said the Lakers reached out to LeBron the moment teams were first allowed to talk to their own pending free agents. There was a check-in call early in free agency, right when the window opened. And since then, Shams' exact characterization was that there hasn't been much communication between the Lakers and LeBron's side, and in his words, certainly not an offer yet. Not a lowball offer, not an insulting placeholder offer designed to save face. No offer at all, from the franchise he has represented for the last several seasons of his career. And it does not stop there, because this is the part that turns a rumor into a real, live story with actual proof behind it. LeBron's own agent, Rich Paul, went on the record on a podcast with an actual whiteboard in front of him, breaking down realistic, specific destinations for his client. Rich Paul name-checked the New York Knicks. He name-checked the Philadelphia 76ers on camera in real time for anyone watching to see with their own eyes. This is not me speculating for you from behind a desk. This is the player's own representation, presenting the actual options genuinely under consideration on the record, out loud for the entire basketball world to hear. So let's be extremely clear about exactly where this stands right now, tonight. The Lakers have made zero formal offer to their own franchise legend. LeBron's own camp has publicly floated other franchises by name, unprompted, on camera. And LeBron James is, for the first time in over 20 years of professional basketball, a genuine, wide-open free agent with the entire league able to make a real pitch. And let me underline just how rare a moment like this actually is in professional sports, because it's the whole foundation of the story. Superstars of this magnitude essentially never hit true unattached free agency in the modern NBA. Teams simply do not let it happen, extending and re-signing players well before that window ever opens. That's exactly why the silence from the Lakers has become the single loudest storyline of the entire offseason. When the team says nothing and the player's own camp starts naming names in public, every front office in this league has to sit up and pay attention, and yes, that specifically includes the Golden State Warriors. Now here's the specific exact Warriors angle nobody else is talking about with the full honesty it genuinely deserves. Golden State has genuinely been searching for exactly one more real, legitimate offensive engine to pair with Stephen Curry for the entire back half of this dynasty's existence. And while Rich Paul's own whiteboard named the Knicks and the Sixers specifically that night, insiders around the entire league have quietly noted that the Warriors have never fully, completely closed the door on a LeBron reunion story either, given the front office's long-standing, genuine relationship with his camp going back many years. Let me remind you exactly who we're talking about here, because sometimes we say these names so often we forget the actual scale of it. LeBron James. A four-time NBA champion, a four-time Finals MVP, the all-time leading scorer in the history of this entire league, 20-plus All-Star selections across a career that has now spanned more than 2 decades, a player who, even at this stage, still puts up numbers that would headline most other rosters in the league without a second thought. This isn't just some declining role player changing scenery late in his career for one last paycheck. This is arguably the greatest basketball player who has ever lived genuinely on the open market with no contract attached to any single team for the first time in his entire 22-year career. Sit with that for just 1 second, because it genuinely deserves real, serious weight here. In over 2 decades in this league, LeBron James has never once been a true, fully unattached free agent looking at the entire NBA landscape with zero prior commitment pulling him back. That has simply never happened before, not once, in a career this long and this decorated. And it is happening right now, this offseason, live in front of all of us, unfolding in real time. And let me put his resume in even sharper context, because it matters for exactly what kind of value he still brings. Even in what should be the genuine twilight of any normal professional career, LeBron has continued producing at a level that stuns analysts and opposing coaching staffs alike every single season, a real testament to a level of conditioning and basketball IQ that simply has no true precedent anywhere in this sport's history. Adding a genuine player like this isn't just adding another star to the roster. It's adding a living piece of basketball history to your locker room, someone who has literally seen and personally solved every single problem the postseason can possibly present to a team. Now, think really hard about the exact timing of all of this, because it genuinely matters enormously here. Golden State just missed the playoffs entirely last season, a genuinely humbling, sobering moment for a franchise that has otherwise won 4 championships with this exact era of players together. Stephen Curry's own personal championship window is loudly, undeniably closing with each passing season, and the front office knows this reality better than anyone watching from home possibly could. The single greatest player in this entire sport's history, sitting there genuinely unattached on the open market, represents exactly the kind of desperate, bold, franchise-altering swing a front office makes when it fully understands the clock has almost finally run out completely. Let's also talk about what this would mean for the locker room specifically, because championship cultures live and die on more than just talent alone. A player who has literally won titles with 3 different franchises, who has mentored some of the best young players in this entire sport, who understands precisely what it takes to sustain a winning environment across a full 82-game season and a grueling 2-month playoff run, walking into a room that already has genuine championship DNA running through it. That's not just adding a scorer to the roster. That's adding an institutional knowledge base that money simply cannot buy anywhere else in this league, the exact kind of presence that could extend Draymond Green's own leadership burden and give this locker room a second voice of true championship experience. Let's talk about the actual on-court fit, because this isn't just star power for the sake of star power. Stephen Curry's entire offensive game is built around gravity and spacing more than almost any other player alive, and LeBron, even at this exact stage of his legendary career, remains one of the very best passers and off-ball cutters this sport has ever produced. Just picture it directly for a second. Stephen Curry pulling 2 full defenders off a single screen, LeBron reading the exact rotation and either finishing hard at the rim himself or finding the wide open shooter a full second before most other players would even see the actual window. That's not some hypothetical fit built purely on name value alone. That's a real, genuinely tactical marriage between 2 of the smartest offensive minds this entire league has ever produced, sharing the exact same 54 minutes of floor time every single game. Now, I have to be completely straight with you here because that's the only way I do business on this channel. The Lakers haven't made a formal offer. That part is confirmed directly by Shams Charania. Rich Paul mentioned the Knicks and the Sixers by name, not the Warriors specifically, and I won't pretend otherwise just because it makes a better headline. There is no contract. There is no signed agreement anywhere. I am not going to sit here and tell you the ink is already dry because it genuinely isn't, and anyone telling you otherwise this early in the process is not being straight with you. Let me also be completely honest about the doubts here, because I always give you the full, complete picture. The first real, honest doubt here is that the Warriors were not among the specific teams publicly named by Rich Paul that night, which means right now, this is genuinely more about a historical relationship and a desperate roster need than any actually confirmed mutual interest. The second honest doubt is the money situation, since Golden State's entire roster is already deep into apron and second apron territory, making a real max-level addition financially complicated without first moving out significant existing salary elsewhere. The third honest doubt is the fit itself at this exact stage of both careers, since 2 ball-dominant, gravity-heavy stars genuinely sharing touches always requires real chemistry building time, and a rapidly closing championship window may simply not have that luxury available. Let me also address the money mechanics directly, because it's fair to ask how a team already deep into the aprons even makes something like this work. The truth is, any real LeBron deal would almost certainly require moving out real, significant salary elsewhere on the roster, likely centered around one of the team's other veteran contracts, just to create the necessary cap room. That's a genuinely complicated, multi-piece transaction to construct, and I won't pretend it isn't. But the Warriors have shown time and time again over the years that they will get aggressive and creative exactly when they believe their championship window is still genuinely open, even if just barely. But here's what I genuinely want you to sit with for a second, because even with all of those honest doubts fully on the table, the circumstantial evidence still points somewhere real and worth watching closely. Total genuine silence from the Lakers on any actual contract offer whatsoever. A rapidly closing championship window that desperately, genuinely needs exactly this kind of star power injected into it. A front office with real, documented history connected directly to this exact player's own camp over the years. When Shams Charania is sitting there live on national television saying there's been genuinely no real offer, every single team around this league with a real honest need and a real relationship has to at the very least make the call. Let me also underline just how rare this specific relationship angle actually is, because it's not just corporate spin. The Warriors front office and LeBron's own camp have real documented history together going back years, from All-Star Weekend conversations to shared business interests off the court. That kind of long-standing relationship does not guarantee a deal, but it does mean that when a superstar of this magnitude becomes genuinely available, the Warriors are never just an outside long shot. They're always going to be a team taking a real, serious phone call. And let me put this in the context of what this franchise is actually chasing right now, because it raises the stakes to a level most trade rumors never reach. This is a franchise that has already won 4 separate championships with this exact core of players, but the calendar simply does not lie, and every single year that passes without one more real, legitimate shot at a title is a year the front office can never, ever get back. The single greatest player in this entire sport's history becoming a genuine, unattached free agent is exactly the kind of once-in-a-generation opportunity a franchise with this much championship pedigree simply cannot afford to watch pass by from the sideline. Let me leave you with one final crucial thought here, because it's genuinely the part almost nobody watching this story is fully connecting together yet. Moments where a truly generational talent hits the open market with zero strings attached happen maybe once in a lifetime, if that. Michael Jordan never once did it in his entire storied career. Kobe Bryant never once did it either. LeBron James, right now, tonight, in this exact moment, is doing exactly that, live in front of all of us, with his own representation already floating specific teams by name on camera for the entire world to witness. Whatever ultimately happens from here, remember that you watched this entire situation unfold in real time, live, not after the fact years later in some polished retrospective documentary. So here's what I need from you tonight. Keep your phone close over the next 2 weeks, because a story with this much silence and this much history behind it can move fast the moment one single insider changes their tone. Watch the Warriors' own front office for any hint, any body language, any offhand comment in an otherwise routine media session, because organizations rarely announce these things directly. They leak them sideways through a beat reporter's casual tweet or a coach's carefully worded non-answer to a pointed question. And tell me down below, honestly and truly, if you're the Warriors front office right now, tonight, do you make the call immediately? Do you offer Stephen Curry one final, truly legendary running mate to close out this dynasty in style? Or do you accept painfully that this specific era simply has to find its answers somewhere else entirely? Because somewhere in the Bay Area tonight, a Warriors front office that owes absolutely everything to Stephen Curry is staring directly at a rapidly closing championship window and a truly legendary name sitting unattached right there on the open market. And somewhere in Los Angeles tonight, a Lakers franchise that built its entire modern identity around this exact player is sitting in total deafening silence with no formal contract offer anywhere on the table. I'll be watching every single word out of every single insider's mouth over the next 2 weeks. You can count on that completely, no exceptions. And the very second anything moves, even the slightest shift in tone from a single reporter, you already know I'm coming right back here to break it down for you, piece by piece, exactly like I just did tonight. Stay close, Dub Nation. Moments like this one genuinely do not happen twice in a single lifetime, and the bold franchises are always the ones who at least pick up the phone.